Hi, I'm Vincent Simoni and welcome to today's program. Today, I'm going to show you why the forehand flashlight method is causing you to not be able to hit the best forehand you possibly can. Now, a lot of us have been taught to hit a forehand this way, and it's very common for beginners, and we get this idea in our head that we need to point the flashlight towards the ball before we hit, and this is basically a good sign of proper preparation. And I'm going to show you why this is completely untrue and is actually tennis misinformation. So the idea here is that it shows us that our racket is getting back in a position that's ready to crack into it. And we call this lag, you can call it pronation, whatever you want. But the issue with this is this is the position that the racket should end up in. But by focusing just on this part, you miss so many other steps that are very important, and I'm going to go over those steps in this video. So the first thing that we need to do to actually get lag on the forehand is set the racket in pat the dog. We do not actually want to think about driving the butt of the racket at all, because it's going to happen automatically if you do this next step properly. What you have to do is start the swing with the body and forget the arm is even there. Swinging with your hand, a tight hand, your wrist, your lower arm is going to stop you from hitting the ball as hard as possible and stop you from ever progressing. And here's why. A lot of people, they use the flashlight technique and they get artificial lag or racket drive, and they send their arm on a lone mission instead of starting the swing with the body. And what happens if you start swinging with your body first instead of just the arm is you'll get this effect where the arm is loose and relaxed and it lags behind you. And the process of opening up your body first and swinging from the pectoral and the shoulder will cause the racket to naturally fall back in this position, gaining you about 2 times more racket head speed and pop on the ball. Your wrist will naturally catch back in the flashlight position because of the weight of the racket traveling behind you. And now you have a firm and solid contact point, and you can just extend through the ball. But a lot of people, they try and set the racket like this, and what this does is tense up your arm and also break it away from the kinetic chain, which should be the next step. So I'm going to show you how to properly start the swing with your body. Essentially, what you want to do is get your left arm out, and you're going to load your hips and your chest and your torso, and you're going to start the swing by opening up the hips and pulling yourself into the shot. And you see here how my racket, it kind of just starts to fall in the flashlight position. This is actually a natural movement, and I didn't force it at all, because essentially, once I get to here, I'm firm, and then I lose tension. And what happens is actually the racket is falling into this position, and you're not forcing it. I want you to imagine that you're tight, you're tense, and then you just let go of everything at once. And that's how this should feel in order to get the racket to fall in the flashlight position, okay? And the common mistake is people set it like this and then they only go with the arm. You'd even be better off if, you set it like this and then still went with the body. Okay, it's still not going to be as effective as setting the racket here because you'll get way less topspin, but it's a decent start. Now, I need to show you another thing. The reason why you don't want to do this is because it's going to be way harder to actually get topspin on the ball. What you're doing right now is setting the racket on an edge that's going to produce a very flat ball. Because in order to get topspin now, I'm going to have to either break my wrist or turn the wrist over the ball. And a lot of people don't properly know how to follow through either, so this is another big issue, but I'm not going to go into that in depth in this video. But if you set the racket like this and your strings are flat to the ground and you're patting the dog, you don't have to worry about topspin, because I promise you it's going to happen automatically. And you'll actually find that you get the flashlight position much more naturally and easily, because if our strings are closed here, boom, it's going to bring us to a firm contact point, okay? Instead of us going like this and having to put our arm in a weird, awkward position, you just want to set it here, loose and relaxed, and go. And from here, what you want to do is have a windshield wiper finish for your topspin. A lot of people, they break the wrist or they keep going way too much up and they have like this scrapey, unclean sound that doesn't produce a desirable ball. So you're going to want to fix your follow through here as well. So I've just showed you the new way to hit your forehand, and I want you to go and try it. And learning the modern forehand technique is the first step in creating a game that's really successful. And next, after this step, you're going to want to go and learn modern tennis. And I have an online course that's a step-by-step guide. It's called Modern Tennis Step by Step. And if you like what you learned here, you're going to want to go into that next, because it takes what you've learned here and it builds on it and shows you how to go out onto the court with consistency and power forever. So once you've practiced this, you may want to take it to the next level and go learn modern tennis. And you can get started today by clicking the link down below. Anyhow, thanks for tuning into the program, and use what you've learned here to modernize your game.